Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Huncho. This is my first time making a video on market psychology. This is going to be a very short, very brief video, so make sure to stay tuned, watch from beginning to end. This is basically to give everybody a mental reset, how to start fresh if you've been struggling, or just look at different, perspectives to be able to give us a little bit more clarity in this pathway to profitability. All right. So that's the title of this this slideshow that I made. This is going to be something that I'm going to run through just to give us, like I said, just different points and reminders that can give us more clarity as we go in this journey, correct? All right, so one of the things that we need to really start off with is unlocking the blueprint. All right, so profitability starts with clarity, okay? So if we have no clarity and we just have blurry vision, it's going to be very, very hard to us to take a step forward and to actually make proper decisions that are going to give us good results. Okay, so we have to know why we're trading and our intentions, right, behind this. Okay, so your intentions shapes your decisions. Okay, so very important thing to understand is, what is your intention? All right, what are you looking at in this game, or in this journey that you have in trading, stocks? What is your intention behind it? Okay, so there's a couple questions to ask. There's key questions to ask for every single one of us to yourself. And the first question is this: are you trying to get rich quick? Okay, now this is very simple, but in reality, are you actually trying to get rich? None of us will actually admit that, excuse me, that yes, we're trying to get rich quick, right? Because it sounds, it doesn't make sense. Obviously, it's not the smartest answer, but in reality, based off our actions and our mindsets and our decisions, we're actually trying to get rich quick. Okay, now, if that's you, you have to answer yes or no. Are you trying to get rich quick? All right. Are you looking for a side income? Are you looking at this as just like a thing to do on the side? You're not really too serious about it. You're just trying to make a little bit of change on the side, right? So there's that. And then, are you trying to build long-term wealth? Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to, have your money sit, in certain stocks to be able to profit in the further date, or you're trying to play a little bit more slower and have a little bit of less time on the charts? Like, what are you trying to do? Okay. Now, are you developing the skill for the future? Is this something that you're actually dedicated to, that that if you work hard enough, spend enough time with, you'll be able to, reap very, very great fruits of the work that you put in this current moment, right? Is that how you're looking at this? So that's a couple questions to ask ourselves, okay? And then this is the importance of the purpose. This is important to understand our intentions and why, okay? Because your purpose determines your patience, all right? So depending on your reasoning, it's going to correlate, and it's very connected to your behaviors, in the present moment in front of the charts, okay? So your purpose determines your patience, okay? Your purpose determines your risk. Your purpose determines your expectations, and your purpose determines your growth, okay? So understand this. If your purpose is not strong, you're going to, or what I mean by is it not strong, as in, a lot of times our goal and our results that we want to have is not aligned correctly with our purpose, okay? Because our purpose is, we want to get rich quick. We want it now. We don't really care about the long term. We want to make as much money as we can today, all right? We want to retire today or next week. So if our purpose is that, and we're going to want what? Long-term, success. We're going to want consistency. We're going to want, basically consistent gains. Is, if that's what we're going to want, our purpose is weak. Okay, so we have to really think about that. Okay, Now, another thing that we're going to mention is we're going to talk about is the two types of traders. Okay, there's the beginners and there's the experienced traders. All right, and this one is going to be a little bit more in depth in the mind, and this is going to help some of us identify with current, issues that we might have currently. Okay, so we have the beginners and then we have the experienced traders, right? So each has unique challenges, each requires different development. All right, so this is the beginner trader, right? These are the identity. This is the common identities of a beginner trader. Number one is lacks price action experience. Okay, doesn't have screen time. Doesn't understand when the market's bullish or bearish. Is clueless. Okay, this is a beginner trader. All right, so another thing is the beginner trader lacks pattern recognition. Because of lack of screen time and lack of price action experience, it does not know, when certain things reoccur. It doesn't have enough data that has been collected to be able to say, oh, I've seen this before, I've seen this movement, I know what's going to happen, and such. Doesn't have an idea, right? So it lacks pattern recognition, and also lacks confidence and discipline. Most beginner traders, they lack confidence and discipline, and obviously that lack of confidence comes from not enough experience, right? So that's normal. Now, these are the requirements of every beginner trader. Okay, number one is to learn candle behavior and price action. Okay, so that's important. We have to learn how to read a volume and read candle closes, and when the market is bullish and bearish. We have to understand these things. You have to build screen time. I've told everybody in the beginning of my journey, I spent 2 years just staring at SPY for 8 hours a day. Okay, from market open to market close. For literally, I probably maybe missed 3 days where I didn't do it, maybe 8 hours, but there hasn't been a day where I just didn't look at what was going on. So my screen time, it was number one. All right, you have to build as much screen time as you can. Practice with small size. This is either paper trading or have a small account. I never recommend a beginner trader to start with $1,000, $5,000, $500. Like, you should start with $500 as a beginner, or even less, just to understand the movement and just to get a feel of what's going on. So that's important. You have to start small instead of learning with a higher price to pay. Okay, so that's a third requirement. This is important. Journal every trade. Okay, now I lose a lot of you here because most of us are actually just undisciplined and lazy. Okay, if you don't journal every trade, if you don't have a layout of all the trades that you took, then what data do you have to collect to understand what went wrong? Okay, so journal every trade. I don't mean write a book, right? A 200-page book, an essay of what emotions you were feeling in each trade. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about having at least some form of collection of entries and exits of trades. That's it. Okay? Just having something like that, whether it be your post on X, your post on Discord, whatever it might be. Okay? You can also look in your brokerage account. It'll show you all the history of all the trades that you've taken. All right? So make sure to start if you haven't. Avoid rushing the learning curve. Okay? This is the problem. Is most of us are trying to just quicken the success, right? And a lot of the times the learning curve comes with trial and failure. Okay, losses. That's how it's gonna accelerate. So a lot of times it's not really gonna be in the technical aspect because that's very easy to consume and to grab and memorize. But in reality, what's really gonna accelerate your learning curve is showing up every day in the markets. That's really what's going to accelerate your learning curve. Okay, but don't rush it. Just make sure you just show up every day as much as you can, be as consistent as possible, and collect as much data as possible. All right, so this is the mindset that every beginner trader should have, and also that every beginner trader should understand. And it's that slow growth is much better than fast blow-ups. Okay, because one thing that we should have in a perspective of is that it's much better for you to win $500 consistently than for you to make $20,000 and then lose $18,000 the next week, and then make $5,000 and lose $3,000 the next day. No, it's much better for you to actually have this slow, consistent growth, right? If you're going to correlate to dollar amount, right, then for you to learn lessons, by fast blow-ups, because a lot of the times fast blow-ups occur with bigger accounts, and for beginners, of course, that have capital. And the problem with this is that this can take a bigger mental hit that will push you to make very bad decisions, and your growth will be further delayed than it would be if you were to have a nice small growth, but proper, calculated, and organized decisions. Okay, so if you look at it at that perspective, it'll start to give you ideas and bring you back to things you used to tell yourself if you're an experienced trader acting like a beginner trader, to go back to actually see better results in your trading. Another thing is consistency over excitement. Here's one thing, fellas, is that many of us, especially that are in in the social media space, if we're consuming a lot of this content, so many traders, even beginner traders, are addicted to this lotto win trading, SPX, power hour, during power hour, looking at cons go from 20 cents to $8 and saying, oh man, if I would have put this amount, I would have made this amount in 2 minutes for one candle at 355. And that fellas does not bring consistency in trading. Okay, it does, and that's lottery hits. That's not the way to approach this game if you actually want to see long-term success. Okay, so understand that consistency is much better than excitement. Okay, so patience is part of the process. All right, and this is the experienced trader. Okay, so the experienced trader has market familiarity, right? Has some level of pattern recognition, and has confidence, but inconsistent. Listen to this. And also faces psychological phases. All right, and we're gonna look at that in the next slide. But the experienced trader has these, this data that's been collected, a pattern recognition, understands price action, candle closes and such, has confidence, but is inconsistent. So that's unfortunately what many traders nowadays are in that situation, where they are confident, but they, because of emotions and such, they're inconsistent. Okay, and these are the 4 phases that every trader goes through, and this is the euphoria phase, right? So I'm not saying this in this exact order, but every single trader goes through this. There's the euphoria phase, there's the guiding moment phase, and there's the failure phase, and there's the rebuild phase. All right, so the rebuild phase is the last phase, and this is the one that is going to lay out fully how to get out of the cycle that you are in and to actually start to see a change in your trading. If you want to see this, make sure to react to this video and leave a like, and I will drop the next video soon.